Here to accept the award, she is a famed editor, a Dungeons & Dragons expert, and Ithaca College's coolest alum ever. Ladies and gentlemen, editor Michelle Whitten, everyone.
Thank you, James Smith, for letting the cat out of the bag about Dungeons & Dragons. I thought it'd be really classy to put my speech out of my cleavage. So this is a huge honor to stand up here for Thelma Schoonmaker. If she had actually won this Oscar, she would currently have 4 Oscars under her belt, which is amazing, which is more than any other nominated editor. So it's kind of hard to begrudge poor Neil Travis, who originally won for Dance with Wolves for his one Oscar. What's really interesting about the original nominees for the Editing Award is that both Walter Murch and Thelma Schoonmaker were nominated. Thelma for Goodfellas, of course, and Murch for both Ghost and Godfather Part 3, which obviously even he couldn't save. 2 of the most legendary editors, and the first ones that I ever knew by name, because no one ever knows who the editor is, right? And these were 2 editors that I looked up to when I was first learning to cut film. And as much as I love Murch and his book, In the Blink of an Eye, is an incredible discourse on film editing, if you haven't read it. But Thelma has a special place in my heart. Here is a woman who has been deep in it, mano a mano, with Martin Scorsese for over 30 years. And when I found out that the editor of Raging Bull and Goodfellas was a woman, I was so pumped about that as a young female editor. And in interviews with Thelma Schoonmaker, she gives so much of the credit to Martin. She's very self-effacing, but those of us who do this job know that it's the collaboration between the director and the editor has a huge, huge impact on what you see on screen. And also that so many of Scorsese's films are really harsh and violent and masculine, and you know, this woman is so badass, and you know, her editing is sharp and precise, and it hits you in the balls when it needs to. And I'm thinking specifically of the timing of the scene where Tommy gets whacked, which I hope I didn't ruin that for anyone. I'm sure we've all seen this movie. Tommy does get whacked, sorry. I mean, the timing in that scene is just, every time I watch it, it always takes me by surprise, even though I know what's going to happen. And also the scene where Henry is all coked up and running around, just great. Nice job, Thelma. So Thelma has always been a role model for me. And a little bit of history, years ago, women were allowed to be editors. It was one of the few professions in film they were allowed to have, because splicing was considered like sewing. It was like housework. It was like filmic housework. And women had little hands, so you know they could splice the film together. So as most traditional women's work, it was undervalued for a long time. So Thelma is proof, like Dee Dee Allen and Sally Menke and other amazing female editors, that the invisible work of editing is finally valued, and proof that a woman can achieve so much success when we're still in the industry. So thank you, Thelma.